Hello. Hello.
Sorry, I will advise Dr. Tijjani as a host. You can mute everybody.
Okay, sir.
Exactly.
Because there is a lot of background.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, hello, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Good afternoon, Prof. Can you hear me, Prof? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, sir. So my submission is that for those of us who, I'm a microbiologist, a vet microbiologist. For most of us who are more into core laboratory research, usually when you are applying for grants, oftentimes they expect you to bring up some preliminary data to substantiate reasons why anybody wants to give you money. And I remember that during my PhD, I noticed that most researchers abroad usually do what we call preliminary work before applying for grants. Unfortunately for us here, even such preliminary works you cannot do, because if I'm going to do an RNA expression work now, I need continuous light. And here, if you at best, you cannot have light for more than 12 hours. In such instance, does that mean that we have to now start shifting our research interest away from such dead ends? Or what would you advise us to do? Hello, sir.
Yes, I'm with you. I picked your question.
Yes, sir.
I would like to have more questions so that I can, instead of us answering one, I can pick like 3-4 questions and answer together.
I think, Prof, the reason is because we have muted almost everyone. So you may kindly go ahead with answering the first question so that we'll give room for others to ask later.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. The question, the person that asked the question, I quite understand the terrain in Africa. Indeed, if you look at that slide that shows the research progress also, when I started in 2004, I was only able to publish maybe 1, 2005, nothing, 2006, 3, and most of them can only be published in local journal because of our limitation. You know, the problem is that, unfortunately, these limitations are there and they are not going to go away suddenly. They can't go away immediately. It's a transition. For example, I remember back in when we first joined MVRI, for example, in Jos, in Vaughan. Practically, our lab, we were still the best technology we had then in the lab was the ELISA. We don't even have the PCR, and then they set up the PCR lab in the Dermatophilosis Research Center. Then it was designated that nobody can touch the PCR machine. If you need to do work there, to go and meet those guys who are in the PCR lab, you have to partner with them. They are the only one that can touch the machine and do all sorts of things. So gradually, it shifted from just depending on the basic bacteriology or basic virology plus ELISA into doing some PCR work. Then before you know it, I was able to apply for a grant there to Agric Research Council. And I got 2 grants in quick succession, one for ASF, one for FFD. And before you know it, we built our own lab in ASF section under the virology department. And we're able to buy PCR. We even bought these -70 freezers and all those things that the molecular biology unit that used to be our source before now have to begin to come back and store things with us. Then we partner with some organization. We even got a grant from European Union for 412,000 euro there. And then I have collaborators outside the country. For example, I can give you an instance. There was a time I was doing ASF research based on some of the grants we got in Nigeria. We were doing this ASF research, and when we went out to collect sample all across the country, I made sure one thing, I said, make all sample in 3 aliquots because of this power issue you are talking of. And it came out to become beneficial for me. The first aliquot we stored in our lab in MVRI in Nigeria. The second set of aliquot I sent to the OIE reference lab in South Africa. And the third set of sample I sent to the lab in Spain. That's the world reference lab for African swine fever. You know what happened? Just some 8-9 months afterward, all those samples we collected in Nigeria, the one we stored in VOM, do you know we lost everything? What happened? There was no electricity for 3 weeks, and all the samples were lost. And because they become smelly and all those, so they have to throw everything away. But because of the hindsight and the fact that I have collaborators outside, and I've sent and stored duplicate copies of my sample there, those become the facility I use during my PhD. So immediately, by the time I was starting my PhD, I have opportunity for like five publications from my PhD. Because I've already sent the sample ahead, some analysis have been done preliminarily, we have some work ahead of me. So it became easy for me. By the time I go to the lab in Spain, indeed, ILRI was willing to sponsor me. ILRI just give me a grant of $10,000. I was able to move and go to Spain and spend 6 months in Spain. I finished most of my lab work. Then coming to South Africa, I also got sponsorship and came to the lab in South Africa, do more work, and I finished my PhD in less than 2 years. So it's possible. So you just need to think critically, look at your limitations and begin to think individually of how to solve those limitations, either by good collaboration, either by having hindsight and thinking right. For example, you may have challenges of electricity, maybe in Abeokuta, but you know that in the lab in Abuja or so, maybe they have better electricity situation there. Why won't you duplicate your sample and keep a set of samples there with another of your colleagues, which had become your national partner in terms of research? You can do that easily. And once both of you trust yourself and you have material transfer agreement, it should be easy for you to work together. That would be my response.
Thank you, sir.
Any other question before I drop off?
Hello, those that are willing to ask questions or make comments, please can unmute themselves and ask questions, please. You can either raise up your hand or unmute yourself if you want to ask a question or make further comments.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah,
yes, go ahead, please.
You can go ahead.
Prof, sir, my modest observations as well, having worked with you for a while now, is that one huge problem we have here is that people are employed into the academia, just like you have observed, without any form of initial, would I say, training on what it entails. Now, you agree with me that even when you have data and you don't have the very basic skills of academic writing, you may not make the best of the data. And for so many of us, for example, myself, was after you and I started writing together, and then I went for PhD, that it became easier for me to look at my data, make sense of it, and write it in the way I want to pass my message. Is there a way within us here that we can begin to also have something, I don't know, maybe in Nigeria here, where things like academic writing within the research community can be encouraged?
Thank you for that question. You are quite right. You know, I mentioned before that indeed some of the people are supposed to be mentors to us because they are also not mentored when they were growing up in the system. It becomes difficult for them to mentor others. If I can give you a quick example, my first paper I prepared, then when we joined the research institution, they told us you must submit your paper to your head and he must approve it before you can publish it. The first paper I submitted to my head then, since 2001 or so, till today, the paper had not come out of his table. It's unfortunate, and I don't blame him. It's not because he didn't want to work on it, but he also does not have the capacity because he didn't have that, that skill. And for example, I was in the University of Pretoria. It may not be only Africa, it's wide, it's broader than even Africa. For example, I was at the University of Pretoria one time. I saw one student. He was working on this project. He collected a sample and processed them and did a lot of good laboratory work. I mean, very good laboratory work. Then he had issue with statistics. He came to me and I looked at his data. So I asked him, I said, yes, you have worked very well now as a technician, but you are not a technician. You are supposed to be a researcher in this case. He said, what do you mean? So I said, because this data you've collected, just by tweaking them around a little, just by collecting a bit more information, they will make more meaning. What did this guy do? He has all the biological parameters, all the lab data and everything for those samples. But you know, he never collected data on the age of the animals and people involved. He never collected data on the species, on the sex, and all those differential factors that can help you to easily have better data. Even on the spatial analysis, okay, these are from this area, that's from that area. So I told him, oh, all these results you've generated, all this work you've done, they are very good, but create an Excel, put all of them there, go back to the book where you get all this data from, match them with the age, sex, with location, and with everything. Do you know, just by doing that, we were able to transform his work from possibly no publication coming from the work to 3 good publications coming from the work. And today, he has those 3 publications, and those are the things that help him in terms of his publication. He is from one of the East African countries. I think he's from Rwanda. Yes, he's from Rwanda. So the way you begin mentorship and the way you begin to look at your data, for example, that's why it's good to collaborate, or to at least you can share your research idea with people. You can get input from people and you can improve your research skill by just discussing your idea with people. Don't always have this suspicion that, oh, they will steal my data if I share it with them. Well, in the modern day world, there's practically no hidden data. I can give you an example. That paper, one of the papers I showed in 2014, when there was Ebola in Nigeria, we wanted data on Ebola because I was in South Africa then. And I wrote to the Ministry of Health in Nigeria. I wrote to quite a number of people working in that field. And they were holding so tight to the data that they will not share it, they will not do this, they will not do that. They are not ready to cooperate at all, as if they own the data. And I let them know, I said, come. I said, this data you are keeping, do you know actually you can be prosecuted for criminal offense for it? Because these are public data that was collected with public money, and you are now privatizing. So you have no right to this data. You know what I did? I just ignored them when they wouldn't share the data. I wrote to the World Health Organization. Definitely, they are going to submit the report to the World Health Organization. From the World Health Organization, I need like this volume of data. WHO gave me this volume of data. All the data I needed that they were hiding, I got everything. I got more than that. And we did this excellent work. And I tell you, that work was published. Today, that paper had been cited 176 times since 2014. It became a very highly celebrated paper. We even got interviewed by BBC and by some other international media house because of this paper. And immediately this paper came out. You know, those people from the Ministry of Health wrote to the editor-in-chief and told them they must withdraw the paper. These people stole the data and all those things. I look at it, I said, these guys are joking. I wrote to the editor also because editor wrote to me and said I should defend the fact that we didn't steal the data. And I let the editor-in-chief know that, come, these people who are saying this, they are actually supposed to be prosecuted for hiding public information collected with public funds. One, we will not do that. But in the other instance, they should show evidence that those data were stolen from them, because I have my source of data and I show all the evidence of sources of data. And I shared with the editor-in-chief. And the editor was still in some dilemma. But what happened was that one of the professors from Nigeria, he was with Canada. He was the advisor to the government of Canada at that time. I can't remember his name immediately now. He's a very reputable professor. He got to know about this. He wrote straight to the presidency in Nigeria. And then the presidency wrote to the Ministry of Health and said they want the list of names of everybody that was involved in raising those questions. Do you know everybody disappeared immediately? That was the end of the matter, because I still have that email. It was written by Goodluck Jonathan with all the former presidents and everything copied and everything. And immediately, these people disappeared. That brings the end to the matter. So at times, you need to be creative in how you source your data. I can tell you, Africa is a data scarce environment. People collect data with public fund. They want to personalize it and keep it and hide it and see it as their own data. It's not supposed to be. But if that happens, then you need to begin to be creative on how you get access to the data you needed to do your work. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Can I ask one more question?
Okay.
One of the challenges you rightly touched is that of mentorship. In a situation where you don't have a mentor in your own field, what do you do? Then two, the issue of ethical approval with regards to ethical board. Sometimes you find that the committee may be. Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me, please? Hello?
Yes, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
Yes, sir. So sometimes you find that the committee may not do their work at the right time and may unnecessarily delay one. What can one do under that situation?
Thank you. Let me quickly answer that. In terms of mentorship, in your field, you may not always have mentors in your field, especially if you happen to come from a very narrow field. For example, people of anatomy is usually one in which not many people love to go to, or pathology or things like that. But then when you don't have mentors in your field, you can look for mentors in related field or in other fields. For example, some of the people I've worked with, I can tell you I've worked with people from the field of ecology. They're actually my first set of mentors that we work with. I've worked with people in the field of mathematics, people in the field of psychology. I've worked with biological scientists. If you go through my list of publications, you'll see I've actually worked with mentors across so many fields. Because one thing I look for is that what new thing can I pick from this person? Once I see that and I see this person can deliver it to me, I'm ready to work with you as far as I'm concerned. In terms of ethical approval, unfortunately, our system is delayed at times, it's slow at times. People will tell you, oh, until 3 months before we sit and all those things. Normally, issue of ethical approval and approval of research is supposed to be on an ongoing basis. Even when the committee is not sitting, they are supposed to have a secretariat that can be a clearinghouse for work that is almost finished or work that does not justify more thorough input. And then they should have backup group of researchers who can be contacted individually. For example, you submit your proposal for re-evaluation. They should be able to send it to individual researcher who will quickly read through and provide feedback. And based on that, they can do the approval. So you can suggest some of these to such ethical committee. Otherwise, you can think of also duplicate approval. For example, if we are working, you are working in the university, as much as you submit your work to the university, the location where you are going to work at, for example, if you are going to work in Abuja now, why don't you submit to the health department of the AMAC also, Abuja Municipal Area Council, or one of those areas? And so if you get one approval, you can begin your work preliminarily. If they ask you for ethical approval, you show them. And the fact that you've had that other approval is even one of the evidence you can use to fast track the approval you want in your own location where things are delayed. So you just have to be innovative with going around some of these challenges.
Yes. Thank you very much, Professor FASINA. I think it is high time for us to allow you to go and join the meeting there, sir. We at MECAGIN, that is Mentorship and Career Guidance in Nigeria, are indeed glad having you as an expert, invited guest, our very own professor there, you know, making life easier for a lot of people. And I'm very sorry what I'm going to say probably because Prof has requested me not to divulge it, but I'm very sorry that I would like to inform the participants that just for them to imitate what Prof is doing, this is not just one, this is just one of the foundations so far I have initiated or founded in Nigeria, one of which is Orphans and Less Privileged Empowerment Foundation. Prof has been following me keenly on Facebook, and he has been guiding me, not just contributing financially. In fact, he requested me not to mention it. Prof requested for an account number of our foundation, and immediately Prof credited us with 50,000 Naira cash from South Africa, and he has empowered a number of youth with that amount of money. So today, we are glad to tell the participants that we have paid for the registration fees from the money we generated through fundraising. About 11 students at Sokoto State University with amount of about 1.3 million Naira. And part of the money that was also sent to us by Prof, we use it to sponsor about 11 orphans at either Polytechnic or College of Education in Zamfara State. So we are very much grateful to Prof indeed for not just giving us mentorship, but also financial assistance. We will surely copy from what Prof is doing to help other people survive and struggle to become established in their own way of life. So we look forward to have you again in the subsequent lectures. We usually have this lecture every week, every Thursday of the week. So I solicit for every one of you to join our Telegram account. I have just shared the link there. Any one of you willing to join us so that you will keep becoming updated with our activities. So kindly please click on the link and join us to learn more about what we are doing at MECAGIN. So on behalf of Mentorship and Career Guidance in Nigeria, I would like to sincerely thank again Professor FASINA, who endeavored to present this nicely presented lecture despite his tight schedule, and equally to our participants who also sacrificed their time to join us in this very important lecture. And I would also like to thank Usmanu Danfodiyo University Sokoto, who provided us access to the Zoom. Earlier, we used open access Zoom, which usually lasts for just 40 minutes. But the Usmanu Danfodiyo University Sokoto agreed to give us technical support through the MIS unit of the university by giving us access to the unlimited Zoom of the university to be conducting our weekly lecture for mentorship and career guidance in Nigeria. So with this, we have come to the end of today's lecture, and we wish Prof best of luck in all his future endeavors. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Felicia Williams. Bye-bye all. I will share the PowerPoint for those who are interested on email. You can send me an email. I shared my email. And also you can also have access to the video on my YouTube channel. I've already shared the link. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much as well for this wonderful platform.
Yes. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, cheers.
Bye.
Yeah.